Hello. It's been a while. I am finally back. Hi. So I am finally back at the house, and let's look at some of the stuff I picked up for my birthday. So I bought myself, this is one of my absolute favorites. This is the Gold Leaf Times hand lotion. I love this stuff. I put this stuff on every day after I take my shower, before I head out. This is one of my favorite teas, the ginger peach tea from the Republic of Tea. Now I'm back. All right, so that's what I picked up from Central Market. Central Market. Central Market is one of the only places that I feel like I can buy this like in store. You can also get it though from Market Street. This is the gift I got from my co-workers over at Bewitched, where I read tarot. So let's see what they got me. Ooh, I meant to buy some more soap and I forgot to pick them up today, but I will be there tomorrow. Ooh, they gave me a rock. I got a crystal. Let's see which crystal it is. It looks like it's either purple or it's pink. So it's either amethyst or it is, stop. Oh my gosh, she gave me one of, oh my God, I wanted one of these. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, I have to take a picture with it because I am obsessed. Okay, so I might just set it right here for now, but I'll probably go put it on like one of my like love altars. Let's take a look and see what the bestie got me. All right, oh yay. So we got a Dr. Teal's Pink Himalayan Mineral Salt for my bath. She knows I'm a self-care queen. Oh, she got me a $25 Starbucks card because she loves Starbucks. Ooh, and a candle. Salted driftwood. It smells like her. Ooh, and a bath bomb. Fun. So I'll make this into like a little self-care day. Oh, she got me 2 candles. Ooh, I love this one. Golden Sequoia. These literally both smell like her, which is hilarious to me. I like them both though, so thank you for that, bestie. And oh, I bought something else. I was like, I feel like I got something else. Speaking of presents, my other present should actually be here because it would have just arrived. This is the one I'm most excited about. This is the Art of Miyazaki's Spirited Away. I was like, I have to get this. Look at how beautiful this is. Look at this. Look at the illustrations. You see the illustrations. So there is Chihiro in the car, and then there they are. That's her in the bathhouse. And there's like descriptions on this page. We have Chihiro in the backseat while her family drives to their new home. She clutches a bouquet of flowers her classmates gave her as a going away present. One of the things I was super excited about with this is that because they have descriptions of what's happening, it kind of gives you a little bit of additional background information so that I can further look at the archetypes and what they represent, what's going on in each of these scenes. You can see here, Yubaba, which I've been meaning to get into some of like the archetypes around, like the wise old woman, the witch, the crone. You see the girls who work at the bathhouse. You see like the frog kind of like men who work at the bathhouse, as well as Haku. You see some of the spirits and find out about them. You can read about kind of what was going on with the bathhouse and kind of how that was designed. So you get the sketches, like look how beautiful this is. Look how gorgeous this is. And then you get, so you get like background information, right? About Chihiro and who she is as like a character. So it says this chapter, we're looking at this one right here. So it says this chapter features concept art, backgrounds, character designs and scenes, digital data, sequenced according to the film storyline. Commentaries provided by supervising animator Masashi Ando and art director Yoji Shige. So then it says, so 10-year-old Chihiro, oh, she has a last name? I didn't know she had a last name. Ogino is an only child who's a little spoiled. On the way to their new house, she and her parents wander onto a small road which leads them to a mysterious tunnel. After exiting the tunnel, they wander into a strange town. There she finds a bathhouse There she finds the bathhouse spirits visit to rest and heal themselves. As she wanders around the town, she encounters a mysterious boy who cautions her to leave before nightfall. But cursed for eating the town's food, her parents are turned into pigs. I think this is also really important if you're a storyteller. So we're not only just doing our spiritual work and talking about our archetypes and how those show up in popular media and literature, we're also looking at if you're a creator who likes to storytell or who likes to write and is a writer as well, how to set up a story, like how to set up a compelling first scene, how to create a dynamic main character, like what are the elements that go with that, like look at the way that they draw her and things like that. You may not be an illustrator or an artist, but just having that understanding of like what's going on with the different characters. You see her parents, you see the town like on their way into the woods, and like the different elements and the importance of having those different elements. This was the scene that like really like drew me in. This was the page that really made me want to pay attention to this and get this book. So we have that set up. Then we have like the little town, the strange restaurant district with it looks like it's abandoned. Color design based on red. Oh, see, it gets into like the color design and the color theory. Is going to talk about why they used red as the foundational color. I love that. Talks about the parents, the bathhouse. It describes the bathhouse. It describes like the feeling of dusk, the harbor, what goes on with Chihiro, meeting Haiku as a character dynamic, their escape route. And this is like the, if you were to say follow Save the Cat design or something like that, this is how you create a story. This is how you tell a story, the different elements, the different scenes, the different chapters, all of that. We see Kamaji, we see the little creatures, Susu Watari, I didn't know they had a name. The bathhouse and the elevator and how that architecture, the big bath, Yubaba's room and like all the different features there, and then like Yubaba and the pale dawn. Like I love this. I love the like all the explanation, No Face and what's going on with him, and like a very brief introduction. And then Haku's rice ball and their trip through the gardens. Like it's just, it just gets into so much detail and characteristics. You get to hear about Lynn, the workers' quarters, the bathing quarters, the corridors, more about No Face and No Face. You get the stink spirit and clearing out the ocean or the river for the stink spirit. Haku as a dragon. No Face eating all the food. Like it literally takes you through the entire movie, gives you scenes about it, gives you details, gives you a different additional information, gives you a whole analysis on the little like sprite creatures. Like look how fun that is. And then we get the actual, let me go into it over here. I think it'll explain it. So then you get the original story and screenplay. So you actually get the screenplay for the movie, so you can follow along and like watch the different scenes, watch them as they show up, like go through the portion that has the different drawings and go through what they're actually saying, where they are. So if you're someone who is a storyteller, a writer, and maybe you struggle with how to create your storylines, like getting something like this can be tremendously helpful for you. I also got this book, this magazine, The Enchanted Living, because one of my goals is to be featured in this magazine. I want to write something for them, or I want to be one of their featured writers. I want to get paid to write and have something in here. So that is one of my goals. Let me go get my other present, which if you know me at all, you probably know where this is going. So let's get that opened up. Hide my address for it all. Okay. they did not have this one in the store, and I was like, I want it. I want it. Like, I'm not gonna just be able to be satisfied with just the art of Spirited Away. I got the art for Howl's Moving Castle. So in a similar, I'm already in love. It's got this beautiful pink, I don't even know what you call that, but that pink paper. We're opening up Howl's Moving Castle. We've got blonde hair Howl. We have a 2-page spread of the castle here. Like, it's just gorgeous. Like, I could spend hours looking over this. So here is the contents. Part 1 is Miyazaki's concept sketch collection. Part 2 is the concept art, background art, character designs, and concept sketches. And part 3 is the final screenplay. Oh, look at this. Just look at it. Like, if you're someone who enjoys art, if you're someone who enjoys Ghibli films, if you're someone who enjoys just like appreciation of the process, you'll love this. Look at this. Look at the town. Like, look how beautiful that is. And think of like all the things that you can find, how much you can look into it, just like finding all the little details and all the little sketches and things like that. So we get a look at the storyboards. Like, there's Sophie in the hat shop. Is that not the cutest, prettiest thing in the world? So you see Sophie in the hat shop. You see her wandering through town. How they drew all the people and kind of gave this concept of a whole bunch of different people. Her meeting with the soldiers at the beginning. Howl swooping in to save Sophie. Howl flying over the area with the bombs and things. Them meeting, what's her name? Madame Solomon. Yeah. Oh, and look at this, y'all. A classic scene, a classic. Blonde hair Howl. The castle. And getting into the elements about the castle. And look at Sophie. Look at Sophie, look at her mom, look at the way that they drew the differences between them and how Sophie is kind of more straight, more upfront. Okay, after the Witch of the Waste puts a spell on 18-year-old, oh, I didn't know she was supposed to be 18. Sophie, she turns into an old lady. Her stepmother, Honey, has her run the shop they inherited from her father. So 1 through 3 is various rough sketches of Sophie, her younger sister Letty, and Sophie's shop. 4 through 7 are Sophie's facial expressions as she goes out wearing her hat. Her last name, Hatter, was Cutter at this stage. So Sophie Hatter. I love this. Oh my gosh. Look at all the different faces and expressions. And then like, look at this final shot of how like she ended up in the film in her Hatter shop that she inherited. And she said, I really want to preserve the style of the key animation drawings. The Hatter family and their shop. The pedestrians, how they drew all the people, which is wild because like that's a lot of people. Look at this, look at Howl. Look at Howl, look at his sketches. So elegant. Markle, his disciple Markle, the fire demon Calcifer, and Sophie is the old lady. And then the soldiers, the blob men. Sophie and Howl as he floats down and takes her through the... Sophie and Howl are basically the pretty girl meets pretty boy type. When I worked on the character designs, I realized I only had one style for drawing a pretty pair, laughter. I made sure he had a solid core to his personality. Howl's facial expressions began to change in the latter half of the film. For the scene where Sophie and Howl walk over the sky, Miyazaki told me he could be carefree here. That was when I finally realized, oh, so that's how he is. Howl gradually reveals his true nature of being carefree. Oh my God, see, this is why I love these kinds of things, because you get kind of that background information, you get the style and how they came up with things. We have the Hatter house at night, so I love this thing. There was just something about seeing the difference between when the house is full of all the workers and all the shoppers and her mom and it's bustling and bright, and then here we go, at the beginning the color was a little subdued. Like, you get into the background of why they made the colors the way they did, and then you see the Witch of the Waste you know, and her role. And when I look at especially Howl's Moving Castle, the different witches and kind of what happens and what it means, and like age and what that means, and like responsibility and kind of this sense of duty and things, like for Sophie, who is taking over the hat shop because that's what father would have wanted, you know, she's just taking responsibility as the oldest, whereas you have Howl, who doesn't really take much responsibility for anything. He signed up for all these things, he signed all these agreements, but he doesn't want to uphold what it is he said because he doesn't agree with them, but he's scared to say, I don't agree with what you're asking me to do. I am in opposition to war and all these other things. And so I love that. So then we get the Sophie's departure, we get meeting the Scarecrow, we get Sophie's encounter with the castle. They break down the castle and like all the different elements of the castle. We go inside the castle, we meet Calcifer, who, one of the things I always loved was the face of the shining sun behind Calcifer, which I always thought was just such a super cute, nice detail. Port Haven, Markle, the living room in Howl's Moving Castle, Howl cooking, which like the way y'all really go feral for him breaking those 2 eggs. The Witch's Brand, Sophie cleaning, the trip to the lake, and they're at Star Lake, Bird Howl. Ooh, let's see what they have to say about Bird Howl. Howl transformed. The bird howl changes increasingly as the story progresses. It resembled a swallow in the storyboards. So we made him fly like a sparrow. It wasn't really featured initially, but once Miyazaki saw the character designs, he said, this is too good, and proceeded to add more bird scenes. In the final version, he had a rooster's neck and glided like a sea ray. And then it says, I wanted to evoke tension in my concept art for the Bomb City. Usada from Color Design told me it would be difficult to assign colors for the characters because I had tinged the periphery too much with flames. In a real blaze, the flame is very red and the smoke is deep black, but the periphery isn't always that red. I just thought that the emphasized hue would convey tension, and that's from the art director. So you hear about like Howl's War, and then you hear Howl and Calcifer, the morning market, Howl in despair when he throws his temper tantrum, and then there's Howl in his room doing his thing as a young boy, trapped in a man's body, living a man's life. Howl bedridden, his cluttered room is filled with assorted charms, toys, and other paraphernalia to ward off witches. Shocked by his discolored hair, Howl is bedridden. He cringes when he hears about the Witch of the Waste coming after him, and the Emperor summoning him for his help in the war. Sophie checks on him and then claims he should refuse to join such a stupid war. Howl, however, must keep the oath that he made when entering the Witch Academy, or the Magic Academy. They tell you more about Howl, the journey to the castle, King, the Witch of the Waste returns, the palace entrance. Oh, Solomon's Trap. I cannot wait to read about that one. The greenhouse, which I love the greenhouse. We learn about Solomon. And then we get this really important dynamic scene where when Sophie's sitting and talking about Howl and how Howl just wants to be free, you know, she changes from being an older woman to being young again. And then that's when Solomon says, oh, I see, you're in love with Howl. And then, of course, Witch of the Waste is now old and all decrepit. And she's like, Howl, I want his heart. And then we meet the Emperor. And then Howl comes to rescue her. And then they escape. But then we see how that one goes. And then we see the kayak and then her flying back to the castle. And then the monster in the cave. I can't wait to read about this. The castle is quiet in the middle of the night with everyone asleep. Sophie wakes up to a sound. The sight of feathers and blood on the floor makes her nervous. She enters Howl's room on the second floor, which is turned into a dark cave. In my concept, I experimented with turning Howl's room into a cave. Sophie is holding a candle, so I tried incorporating its light, but Miyazaki said, no, I want you to treat it as a mental image. He informed me how the cave wasn't filled with real objects illuminated by Sophie's candlelight, so much as it was a passage to Howl's memory. So it's not a concrete illustration, it's a scene where one's memory of the past resurfaces. Because Howl's toys, such as the doll, symbolize Howl's memory, I made the colors bright and immune to the candlelight. And then we have Daybreak, I also am a firm believer that Howl's Moving Castle is just another retelling of Beauty and the Beast, La Bête. And even this scene of Sophie carrying the light, going into the cave, finding the monster, is very reminiscent of Psyche going and shining the lantern onto Eros, and then him being discovered to not truly be a monster once you fully see what's going on with him internally, which is a metaphor that can be used to apply to our own internal work that we do when exploring what feels like our own internal monsters or parts of ourselves that we cannot accept. When we shine the light on them, we see the truth of who they are, and we can incorporate them into more of our personality. But I feel like Howl's Moving Castle is a really fun modern way to look at that same story. We see the monsters, Honey, Sophie's mom comes back, life during the wartime, Howl going against the bombers, the bombing of the house shop. The embrace, there's a whole little 2-page of the embrace when Howl comes to rescue Sophie and he catches the bomb so that it doesn't blow up the hat shop. So after escaping the gang of blobmen, Sophie runs into the inner courtyard. Bombs begin falling when Howl soars down, blocks the bombs, and rescues Sophie in the nick of time. The two embrace for the first time as the bombing continues. And then protecting Sophie, and that's when Howl goes on his whole, like, I have something I want to protect now, I have something I want to live for now. We have that scene where Sophie goes and says, don't go, don't try to fight them. And then we have Howl at war and Sophie deciding that we have to move the hat shop because Howl will just keep protecting it if he thinks we're attached to it. So Calcifer at work, and Calcifer's like, oh, okay, well, I need something of power. So like, give me your eyes. And she's like, my eyes. And he's like, okay. And she's like, well, what about my hair? And he's like, okay, I'll take your hair. And he's like, oh, she's like, wow, you really got this thing going. It gave you a lot of power. And Calcifer says, imagine what it would have been like if you had given me your eyes or your heart. And that's when, what is this lady's name? Not Madame Solomon. The Witch of the Waste is like, oh, I get it now. You have Howl's heart. She could never get Howl's heart, get him to love her, get him to be with her, because Calcifer had the heart to keep him alive and keep him going. So the Witch of the Waste steals the heart, takes the heart. Calcifer falls. She falls from the group, from the hat shop, separated. There's a whole scene there because Sophie pours water onto the Witch of the Waste in order to put her out because she's caught on fire. And then she goes into the dark, and then she follows the ring's light because it will bring her to Calcifer, because Calcifer is Howl's heart. So if she follows his heart, then she'll find her way home, right? And so she finds young Howl, star children. The shooting stars land on the water by Sophie as she runs through the marshland. Star children emerge and then vanish. The star children weren't particularly difficult, but in that scene I had to work on choosing the proper colors and light to convey emotions for the inanimate stars. The image for the star is based on the blue, but I thought the blue for the climatic scene where he turns into the stars should be pure. I thought the stars that Solomon uses to surround a Howl should look scary and loaded with significance. I kept on trying out various combinations of color. I paid attention to the details, but the work demanded patience rather than skill. So we see Sophie running through the marshland. We see Howl meeting with Calcifer, picking at Calcifer, swallowing Calcifer, and then this is one of my favorite. It's a wormhole. Transcending time, Sophie witnesses the boy Howl making a deal with the devil. As tension builds up, the charm ring bursts apart. Sophie falls into the wormhole below her. And one of the most beautiful scenes. And then we see all the background around that. We get the kiss, so we get their kiss scene, we get the liberation. We get Turnip Head saving the day, the neighboring country's prince. Sophie kisses Turnip Head to thank him for saving them. While Turnip Head is a prince now and is sitting over here talking to everybody, Sophie's like, anyways, because she done ran back over to Howl. Howl wakes up. Him and Sophie reunite with her shorter hair now. And she's younger now. She never ages up again. We get a joyous Heen who's very happy that everything worked out. And Solomon's like, all right, well, we'll end the war. Calcifer comes back. Sophie and Howl's castle. So it's not just his castle anymore, even though he had made extra rooms for her and things like that at the house shop. hat shop. Now, instead of running away, it's their home together. So it's combined together. The war won't come to an end immediately, but Sophie and Howl embark on their new life together. Sophie and Howl's castle, now reborn, flaps its wings across the clear blue sky. And it flies now. It's not just running away on the land. We get one of our favorite scenes of the two of them together, both wearing lighter, brighter colors now. It doesn't say anything about their clothing. We see some of their posters that they used, some of their information that they used. They talk about the book and the author, which I also really love because Howl's Moving Castle is based upon a book. And then we get the final screenplay. So you can actually see all the words that they say to each other and then follow along with it. You can read it out loud yourself. Like, this is excellent for my artist types. This is excellent for my creative types. So that is my birthday haul. And now I'm gonna go play The Sims and go post a video and go rest. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.